Afterlife in ancient Egypt. When the dead live. The afterlife in ancient Egypt was the everlasting consolation in life that Egyptians seemed for. They believed that the lifeless come to lifestyles in the underworld, and may stay there away from diseases. They prepared the lifeless to correctly input the brand new realm, beginning via way of means of mummifying. How changed into this new lifestyles with inside the underworld? The Book of the Dead. The book was a collection of hymns, spells and instructions that helped the dead overcome obstacles on their way to the afterlife. It also included instructions on what to do when confronting Osiris, the god of death and rebirth. Osiris conducted a test to see if the recently deceased person is good and just like himself. The negative confession. The test became called negative confession, wherein the useless man or woman needed to deny wrongdoings. The statements have been written down by the divine scribe, Thoth. A woman monster with the top of a crocodile, the four parts of a lion, and the lower back legs of a hippopotamus become ready behind him to consume the newcomer in the event that they failed the test. After the terrible confessions, the heart might be weighed in opposition to a feather representing Mat, signifying reality and harmony. If the newcomer handed the take a look at, they might join the Aku, the blessed dead that may grant a few needs to their praying relatives. Thus commenced the afterlife. Gods involved in the afterlife. There were different beliefs about what happens after death, but most believed that the dead would become Osiris. So the Egyptians made shaptis, small figures of Osiris, and buried them with the dead. If the dead had something to do in the afterlife, the Shabti could do it for them. Another god involved in the other realm was Ra. He was the creator of the universe and the source of life in the afterlife. It roamed the underworld every night, bringing light to the realm, just like the sun. Although before 2000 B.C., it was only believed that the pharaohs were associated with Osiris and attained life after death. After that, normal people were also mummified in order to be revived and enter the afterlife. Thus the death market grew considerably in size. Mass production for the realm of the dead. Since many people were mummified like the pharaohs, the embalmers were much busier, as were the other workers involved in the death industry. This is how the Egyptians initiated the first act of mass production in history. There is not much information on how the industry was operated. However, the many shabti used in the tombs were identical in size and shape, suggesting that they were made in large numbers. An industry this size always attracts thieves, who have to be infidels to begin with. The nonbelievers in ancient Egypt. Some Egyptians believed the lifetime was nonsense, together with some embalmers. Thus, several strange mummies were created from different elements of various corpses. For example, one was discovered with the top of a recent woman, the body of a child. Additionally, there are legs of two different men. These mummies were made mainly in Hellenistical Egypt once Egypt was dominated by the Greeks. There have been also non-believers among normal people, who thought of all the wealth within the tombs as booty. Tomb robbery. Since the Badarian period, i.e., around 4400 to 4000 BC, there was grave robbery. Curses were cast on graves and security devices never stopped the robbers. Even the harsh death penalty couldn't change that. A common safety device consisted of the construction of one or more portcullis blocks placed in grooves in the side of the tomb entrance. The block or blocks were then lowered and locked in place after the tomb was sealed. Another method was to build a fake burial chamber. However, nothing prevented the robbers from breaking into the tomb shortly after the burial. However, the curses deterred some of the archaeologists who had excavated some Egyptian tombs. The Curse of Tutankhamun Tomb. In 1922, Lord Carnarvon financed an expedition, which resulted with inside the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun. He then died of blood poisoning, making a few people fear the curses. However, Howard Carter, who made the discovery, died 16 years after the expedition. To prevent robbery, pharaohs decided to construct their tombs inside the Valley of the Kings. Nevertheless, tomb robbery still happened in Egypt. Thus, the dead had the problems of entering the underworld, and on the identical time, their belongings will be stolen.